Hey, what's up, fellow 303 enjoyer? So I'm sure you're aware of the sound design competition that Kilohertz has been running in commemoration with 303 Day, the 3rd of March. Basically, the idea was to recreate and re-inspire the age-old classic 303 sound. So I was one of the guest judges, and today I kind of want to go through the winners and some of my personal favorites. So a huge thanks to Kilohertz for having me judge the competition. I also just want to mention that there were so many good entries that it was so hard to actually pick 3 winners. We ended up going with 6. And so there's a couple of caveats as well. Is, for example, in the competition, Kilohertz supplied the MIDI file for you folks to actually use to sound design, and some of the presets kind of have this one key legato kind of thing going on, so they don't quite work with the MIDI which was supplied. However, all of the judges reckoned that those sounds were so good that they deserved the mention. So yeah, I'm going to go through most of the sounds using the supplied MIDI file just to get an exact replica of what the sound designers were actually hearing during the process. But for those that don't work with the MIDI file, I'm just going to hold a single note. So anyway, let's dive in and have a look. Again, of course, because I was one of the judges, there is an overlap. Some of my personal favorites are also some of the winners. You can see here, Ruffy and Emily were some of my favorite choices, whereas they're in the winners as well. So I'm not going to go through those twice, but just so you know that those were some of my personal favorites as well. But yeah, just so you know. Anyway, let's dive into the first. I believe these are going to be in alphabetical order. So what happened was we averaged out all the scores between all the judges, and the scores were so close that it was almost impossible to determine exact positions. So it was like shared between first, second, and third. So there wasn't really clear winners, if you know what I mean. There's just 6 winners, basically. So yeah, we're going to go through them in alphabetical order today. So if I remember correctly, actually I see here the comment actually says I ignored the MIDI, sorry. So this is one of the entries where in fact the MIDI was ignored. So I'm not going to go through it now. We're going to skip that and go through it at the end. That one's cool. It's got some very nice movement, but still that very clear, acidy kind of sound. finally the one which ignored the MIDI. See what I mean? That is a crazy preset. So much, it's basically a full track, full techno track. Kick, clap, cymbal, and the 303. I mean, what else do you need? Fantastic stuff. Okay, so let's look at some of my personal favorites. So these are basically like my top 3 that didn't make it into the winners. So the reason why I particularly liked this one is that there's a very clever trick going on here with a sine wave that's kind of phased slightly, and the combination of that and the traditional saw wave kind of gives it a very much kind of traditional 303 kind of wave shape, which I thought was particularly clever. And it just sounds like so close to the real thing that, yeah, I was really impressed by this one. I also like the fact that it's got the saw and the square, like both variations of the original 303 as well. So it kind of sounds very, very close. Very great job. Perhaps compared to some of the other stuff, there maybe wasn't as much modulations and that kind of thing going on. So maybe that's why some of the other judges didn't choose it. But for me, it was just so close that it was one of my personal favorites. Cool, that's about it. So these presets will be available to download. All the details will be in the description. Congratulations to all of the winners, and thanks to Kilohertz for having me involved as one of the guest judges. I thoroughly enjoyed going through these entries. It was pretty inspiring. Yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in, and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.